Well, I think I manifested too hard on being a vampire. I manifested too hard to be a vampire that ended up turning into one. I basically look undead. I look like a zombie or a vampire. And who am I to say that I haven't been drained? I have been absolutely drained today. I've been having many personal problems which are not really that complex. Maybe in the future I will laugh about this, but right now it has drained me of all my energy. This situation is a vampire. This situation is an energy vampire, and I have been drained. Well, my problem is basically a corporate problem. And if you're wondering, why are you talking British? Why are you trying to sound British? Because I can. And I wanted to give my video a more dramatic feeling, and I think trying to imitate a British accent could help emanate that feeling. So yeah, I have been totally drained. I've cried all day because I want to quit my job. I won't get into too many details, but I want to quit my job. And I am in a crisis right now because I'm on my period. Thank you for the information. You're welcome. I'm on my period. That's the first thing. The second thing, I want to quit my job, and I have been thinking about quitting my job since before August. June, July. What it comes before August? July. Since July. 3 months ago, I wrote a letter where I describe that I am tired of everything and that I wanted to quit everything, meaning everything. And I forgot about that. I got too comfortable again in the job. I felt responsible somehow, and like if I had a duty to pay the job, and that I needed to still be there in the job. And today something happened. I had, let's say, a debate with my co-workers, and it made me explode. I ended up crying, and when I am mad, I like to write things, maybe in my notebooks, but maybe in my digital registry. And today I wanted to write what I was feeling, and found out about this note I wrote 3 months ago. And when I read, everything that I was feeling back then is basically the same thing I'm feeling now. And when I read it, when I finished reading it, I was like, bitch, quit. Bitch, this is a sign. So yeah, I want to quit, and I will quit, and I have decided to quit, but I cannot quit just yet. I will try to wait 2 weeks more until I get paid this last month, but it's been very hard to let go of this job. I don't know why. Maybe there's so many reasons I am very stuck into this job. Now I'm looking at myself and I look pathetic and look like a caricature. And yeah, I don't have any makeup on my eyes. My eyebrows are bare. I'm not wearing any makeup here. I put on a lipstick because I just couldn't do a screamer on you. You would be totally scared if you saw me with a full bare face of makeup. But yeah, I don't know what to do with my hat. I don't know what would be the ideal female hat wearing. Like this, or like this. I don't know. This is pathetic, honestly. Like me recording this video with this face all bloated after crying all day is honestly such a caricature. So funny to me, but well. This way I hear myself better. I look like a man who's very passionate about Dungeons and Dragons. But I wanted to do this video to have fun, to distract myself a little, and I also wanted to do more content on my English channel because I'm doing it as a therapy and as a way to express myself as well and to practice my English, as I've been telling you since my last and first video. So what about we talk about another thing that is not my job that I'm going to quit? Let's talk about something more fun. And I'm thinking doing something in my main channel because yes, I have a Spanish speaking channel with all my videos in Spanish talking about pop culture, and there's a video I've been wanting to do forever that is about the feud or the beef that Axl Rose had with Kurt Cobain from Nirvana. Axl Rose from Guns N' Roses had this feud with Kurt Cobain, with Nirvana's Kurt Cobain. So I was going to record it today, but honestly I cannot appear in my main channel looking like this, and I'm very distracted, so I prefer doing a more chill video like this today, and tomorrow when my mind is clearer, record the video with a bit more of a structure. So that's what I'm going to do. But today in this video, after 7 minutes, I will talk about how did I discover Nirvana. So Nirvana is my favorite band. It is one of my favorite bands, but I would say it is my favorite. I honestly have other favorites such as the Beatles, such as the Distillers, such as My Chemical Romance, such as a Radiohead, but I think Nirvana is the band that I have the closest to my heart because they are the ones who introduced me to the history of rock. The first band I ever liked was I'm lying to you. The first band I liked was Panic at the Disco. It was in the 2000s, everyone was trying to be emo. My cousin was emo, I wanted to be like her, so she liked Panic at the Disco, so I ended up liking Panic at the Disco as well. But then through the internet I discovered My Chemical Romance. It is a very funny story, honestly, and I'm going to tell it right now, even though I started talking about Nirvana. Let me tell you how I got into rock and roll. So first I was surfing the web looking for information about rock bands, and I was very keen. I was a huge fan of Panic at the Disco, but I was a huge fan of Fall Out Boy as well. So back then, when I was in middle school, I loved to save pictures of the band members into my computer, which is kind of weird if you think about it, but I would look in Google Images for Ryan Ross pictures and save those pictures in a folder I made specifically for him. And it was really funny to have a Ryan Ross folder in my computer, in my family computer, where I tried to gather every picture of him that was in Google Images, and it was really weird, really weird. But I did this with Panic at the Disco, I did this with Fall Out Boy, and turns out, in one of my picture looking sessions, I opened a picture and I don't know what happened, but instead of showing me the picture, it started playing a music video, and this music video was Helena from My Chemical Romance. And back then I was very scared. I told my grandma, who was the only one at the house back then, Grandma, look at this. This picture is playing a music video. It is so weird. Maybe the computer is possessed, and also the music video is kind of scary because there's a body coming out of a coffin and it's like a zombie dancing ballet. And my grandma was like, oh no, don't be scared, just pray, say our Father who art in heaven, and that's it, you don't need to fear. And honestly, I didn't need to fear because I took it as a sign, like as a signal. I've been very superstitious since I was young, and I told myself maybe this is a way the universe or God is telling me to stand this band. And I started to look for information about this song. I then found out who sang this song, and I started to love My Chemical Romance. And they also had this emo aesthetic that was so looked up back then. So they were really emo, and I loved being emo, honestly. Well, I tried to be emo, but I wasn't really emo, and I ended up loving them. But it doesn't end there. There was a time during these years when I was a real emo kid, but I had to dress up as a private school Catholic girl just to blend in. And one of those days during those years, I had to go to my grandma's house, my other grandma's house, not the one that saw the video with me, my other grandma's house, because it was like a tradition we had in the family that on Sundays my father and I went to visit my grandparents. And I was in a bedroom watching MTV because I was starting my edgy era, and I ought to watch MTV because that's what edgy kids did back then. And suddenly a Nirvana song started playing, and I didn't know who they were, and I was really amazed. I don't remember which one was it, but I think it was Smells Like Teen Spirit. As always, it always smells like Teen Spirit. And let me tell you something. I had heard back then the name of Nirvana, but for some reason I heard the name of Nirvana when I was much younger and I was into pop music. So every time there were people who named rock bands and they named Nirvana, for some reason I assumed they were these very big guys with huge beards and huge motorcycles. Like they were Dog Dynasty. In my mind, Nirvana members physically were like Dog Dynasty, because when I was very very young, like much younger, I thought rock bands meant really huge and triangular beards and really big bodies, mostly or just body fat, I don't know, but they were big in my mind. And I thought Nirvana members were like Dog Dynasty, and I thought Nirvana's music was very Motorhead coded. I don't know if I'm making myself understood there, but yeah, that's what I thought. And I was very surprised when I was at my grandma's house when I was a little bit older, and I had heard already about rock music and I liked some rock bands, that Nirvana wasn't actually a Dog Dynasty rock band. They were just some guys, and turns out the three of them were really skinny, and there's just one of them who's tall. The other two were very normal height. So I was intrigued. Let me tell you, I was intrigued, and I started to look upon the internet about information about this Nirvana group. Who were they? They were just three. Why are they skinny? Like, aren't they supposed to be bigger? No. Why do they have so little facial hair? Aren't they like Santa Claus? Turns out, not at all, my darling. They were very different from what I expected. And back then I had an online friend because I was very active in the Windows Live Messenger space, and my female friend had introduced me to a friend who had a profile picture of Nirvana, and I started to like this guy through chatting, and turns out I started to like Nirvana as well after some investigation. And since he liked Nirvana and I liked him, it's only logical for me to also force myself into like Nirvana even more. But even though I just liked Nirvana at first to like him, because of for him to like me, I was honestly really surprised about Nirvana, and I ended up liking it genuinely. Like, the same thing happened with my cousin and Panic at the Disco. I started at first because she liked it and I wanted to be like her, but then I ended up liking Panic at the Disco genuinely. Well, the same happened this time with Nirvana. And okay, so things get dark from here on, because I was an only child and I had way too many unsupervised time on the internet, and of course it would get to a point where I would find out about Kurt's passing. And yes, it was very sad for me to realize that he was no longer with us, and that the cause of his passing was really shocking. But I got into this rabbit hole because, like a chronically online person always does, I got into a rabbit hole of conspiracy theories. And I know I won't get in those in this video because it's disrespectful, whatever it is. Only God and him knows what happened. But I got into this conspiracy theory webpage about Kurt's passing and all of that, and I started to become an advocate and like an activist to find out the truth. And honestly, it was kind of weird and I regret it now, because like I told you, that's for him and God to discuss, not for us. But yeah, Nirvana made me want to... No, it wasn't Nirvana actually. It was Nirvana who led me to the Distillers. Why? Because when I was a teen, I was very confused into what style did I want to be in. Because I liked emos, I liked rock, but I also liked pop music. I liked divas such as Britney Spears, Lindsay Lohan during her musical era, Paris Hilton during her musical era, Katy Perry. I loved all of the pop girlies, honestly, and I thrived with my friends, and we named each other you're Britney, you're Paris, you're Lindsay. It was very, very fun, but I also wanted to be a punk rocker girl. I wanted to play rock music and be a rocker, but I also liked Pink and glitter, and I didn't know what to do with myself. So I got into this blog, which made me smile because it reminded me so much of myself. And this blog was of a girl who dedicated this blog to pop divas, and also rock divas. She had fan edits of her Britney Spears, but she also had fan edits of Brody Dahl from the Distillers. And that was the first time I saw a rock woman, like a woman from the rocks, a woman from rock and roll that left me so stunned. I don't know how to describe this feeling, because many people would tell you that I was in love with her, that what I was feeling was a crush, and you know what, maybe, but it got into a point that it was further than just a crush. It was like, I want to be here, I want to exchange my skin with her skin, you know. She's so perfect, she's so ethereal in my eyes. It's like, I don't know, I admired her for her looks at first, and when I got to know her, like what she represents, I was like, no, I'm at your feet, girl. So this blog honestly was so funny, because it was all I wanted to be, like a Britney fan, while I was a rock fan as well. But when I found out there were girls in rock as well, with Brody Dahl, made my day. And I also had known girl rockers before, like I knew Evanescence, I knew Avril Lavigne, I knew Hayley Williams from Paramore, of course, and I loved them. But there was no other person who left me as stunned as when I met Brody Dahl. Well, when I knew about her. It's not like I met her. I haven't met her yet. I will, hopefully, but I haven't met her yet. So what happened? I looked for YouTube videos of Brody Dahl and started listening to the Distiller songs, and there was a point in my life which was like an epiphany. It was the video from the Reading Festival of 2004 where Brody Dahl is singing with the Distillers The Hunger. This video amazed me in its totality. It's just, Brody is beautiful, stunning, breathtaking. Then she's singing with all of her heart. She's playing the guitar very well, and at the bridge, or maybe the pre-chorus, or during the chorus of the song, I don't know how to name the parts of a song, I don't know, but in the middle of the song, she started to scream. So rock and roll. I was drooling. I don't know how to express this feeling, but I was drooling. I was like, you are everything I want to be. From the physical appearance, to the voice, to the stance, to the glance, to everything. Like, I need to be a punk rocker. I really started to dream of being a punk rocker when I was about 15 years old. I saw this video and I was like, okay, I want to be like you. And it's sad because now I'm in the corporate world, and all my struggles are financial and corporate, and these things don't have anything to do with being a punk rocker girl, and it's really sad, but that's a topic for another video. But yeah, back to my 15-year-old self watching Brody Dahl on the YouTube screen. Whoa, the Converse boots, I just, like, that image is so plastered in my mind. It was like, I want to learn guitar. I made my mom and my dad, who loved me a lot, who still love me a lot, sign me up for guitar lessons. They bought me a guitar. That's when I realized, you know what, maybe I'm too privileged, maybe I'm too loved, because all the punk rockers I know have had so many tragic happenings, so many tragic lives, and honestly, I don't have any struggle. My parents bought me a guitar. My parents signed me up for these guitar lessons, And I was the happiest girl in the world. I went to the guitar classes with my friends, with my female friends, who some of them loved rock, some of them loved pop, but we were all in this together, trying to make our dreams a reality. And honestly, it felt so accomplishing, so rewarding to even play the C note, the C chord, the D chord. Each time I learned a new chord, it was like, yes, I'm being closer and closer to be like pro it all. And the first song I learned on guitar was The Hunger from the Distillers. And if you ask my parents, who were the victims of my guitar practicing, they will tell you it was actually Smells Like Teen Spirit. But honestly, the first song I learned completely was The Hunger. Then it was Smells Like Teen Spirit. And I remember one time when I was practicing guitar telling my parents, listen to this, I finally learned a song. And they were, oh, like, cool. After I played, they were like, oh, we're very proud of you. You did this, you got a whole song. And it felt really great, really rewarding. Like, yes, I got this. Maybe I had to suffer a little bit more to become a punk rocker. I don't know, but I was really spoiled and I was really happy. And honestly, I'm very happy to have been a spoiled kid and loved, because everywhere you go, everywhere you listen to these stories, to these celebrities' stories, to other people's stories, they glorify being left out, they glorify having hardships in their lives. And honestly, some stories can be inspiring, like, oh, you got over this, you struggled a lot but you made it, which is fine, because they're showing you there's a way after pain. Perfect. But I've noticed in my life that when I tell people how my childhood was, when they realize I was a very privileged and loved kid, they seem to not like it and to dismiss every accomplishment I have done in my life because I was spoiled. And honestly, it's really sad, because even though I was spoiled, yes, and I was privileged, yes, now as an adult I realized the many sacrifices that my parents had to go through to raise me. And I honestly feel so thankful, and I do not wish to have been suffering in a miserable life. I do not want that. And now I'm going through hardships on my own, and I'm doing the best I can to get over those. So yeah, let's not compete to see which one of us has suffered the most. Let's compete to see which one of us. Let's not compete. Let's just not compete. Every life is different, so whatever. Anyways, so back as I was saying, yeah, I got into these guitar lessons. I honestly loved the guitar lessons. My teacher was a guy who they named the name of a fish. He had a nickname because his lips were very big. I wish I was joking, but I am not. This teacher of mine literally had a nickname. His lips weren't even that big, but in my country, bullying is basically culturally normal and accepted, and I know it shouldn't be like that, but it was like that in the past, so we can laugh now and try to move on and be better now. But back then they call him Catfish. They called him Catfish because his lips were big. I remember in my high school they called me an emotive girl, because I was emo and I was trying so hard to be emo that I got myself the name emotive. And I also did not talk too much because I really hated being perceived. So in high school they started to tell me vocalize, started to bullying me by saying, they started to bully me, yeah, the bully to bully me. I don't know if it was real bullying or not, but they started to tell me vocalize, and it was like 30 girls, 30 16-year-old girls telling at me and yelling at me, vocalize, and I was really struggling, like, oh my god, shut the freak up. And honestly, I should not say shut the freak up, because I saw a video of a boy who was very mad because a YouTuber said freak and he instead of fuck, and he said like he sounded so much like a millennial, and I was like, maybe it's not about the millennial, maybe it's about the YouTube censorship, but maybe I'm a millennial and I say freak, whatever. I was just trying to not say fuck, but yeah, shut the fuck up. And yeah, it was really overwhelming to try to not be perceived, and at the same time being perceived while you're trying to not be perceived. And I remember I had a friend who sat in front of me, and she was very talkative, and I would be just like chilling, and she would turn her back and then tell me, oh my god, why aren't you talking? You are desperating me. Why do you not talk? And it's like, bitch, why would you be so uncomfortable if I don't even talk? Like that's your problem, girl. But well, whatever. That time is over, thank God. Now most of my classmates are pregnant, and I'm not, and I'm switching jobs, and honestly I think it's for the better that I'm not pregnant, and I haven't had children just yet. I do want children, I think, but not just yet. I think I had to heal some things in my 20s, which I'm doing right now. I'm going to therapy after I have kids of my own, and I know you're not ever fully healed. There will be some challenges when you have kids, and nobody is like the perfect mother and so on. But yeah, I eventually want to have kids, but well, this is not the topic. The topic is back to when I think I have attention, how do you call it, ADHD, attention deficit. I think I have attention deficit. I was talking about, okay, Broadale, okay, guitar lessons. Yeah, I was with my group of friends in this guitar lesson place, and some of my friends stopped. They were no longer interested in guitar, of course. It's totally normal and respectable. And some friends did want to continue, and some friends continue in that place, but my parents, being very spoily and very loving, found a better place for me to learn guitar, and I started studying there. In my city there were many places to study guitar, but this one was one of the two most famous places. The other one was more expensive, and the two locations of the more expensive one were really far away from my home. So my parents found a good place which was close to our house, so it was perfect. So yeah, this this guitar teacher I had, which they called who they called catfish was from this new place. And I started to have guitar lessons with some other persons whom I don't remember. And there are some things that stuck in my head. And one of the things that really stuck in my head was when my teacher, I was playing really softly. I was playing the guitar really softly, and my teacher told me, "Aren't you like a rock and roller? Aren't you like a punk rocker?" And I told him, of course I'm a punk rocker." And he told me, "Then why don't you just play it loudly, play it hard, play it with confidence?" And I was like, you know what, punk rock? You know what? Yes, you know what? I am punk rock, and I'm going to start to play this guitar loudly. And the exact phrase he told me was to play it more strongly. It would be like the direct translation. Why are you playing the guitar so softly when you are a punk rocker? And you should play it strongly. And you know what? That stuck with me, and you can apply that in every aspect of your life. If you're not trying enough, if you're just being very lazy about some stuff, if you're really scared about something, remember, do you like rock? Do you like punk rock? Then do it strongly, do it with fear, but do it. And I think I need to apply that lesson in this time of my life. I need to be more of a punk rocker and be more determined with my decisions, and I will stop being so fearful. You know what? No, I won't stop being so fearful. If I'm scared, I'm scared, but I will stop letting my fear interfere with my actions. Maybe I'm afraid to find a new job. Maybe I'm afraid I'm afraid of success, maybe. But you know what? I will look for success even though I'm scared, even though I'm afraid, and I will get it. Even though I'm afraid, but I will do it afraid. But I won't let this fear stop me from finding success. And there you go. We always have new lessons here and there that God puts in our way. So yeah, I remember that teacher. Not that teacher that much, but that phrase and that lesson stuck with me like for a long time. And I want to cry now. I won't cry. Oh my god, I won't cry. I've been crying all day. I can't cry. Oh my god, being on my period is so weird. So after some time, I think I don't remember if I stopped going to this place or if I were switched, like my teachers were switched. But yeah, I started to watch some guitar lessons with another teacher, which is the one who was with me for the longest, for some years, not like so many years. I am not a guitar prodigy, honestly. I'm very basic, but I was with this guy for some years, I think, and I do remember him with a lot of love and appreciation. He was very funny. I felt totally comfortable with him. I don't know why, because with my previous teacher I did not feel that. But and then I got into piano lessons. I know, weird, but with my piano teacher and my previous guitar teacher, I was very tense and strict, and I don't know, I was so stiff with them. And with this teacher, it was totally different. I was very nonchalant with him, and I don't know. The same happens to me nowadays. I do my nails with a girl who, I don't know, we're just comfortable, we click. Maybe we don't have the same age, maybe we aren't even from the same city, but we just click. She laughs at my jokes, I laugh at her jokes, we understand each other, there's just chemistry, and it's really hard to find that chemistry with other people. And I have done my nails with many other girls throughout my life, but with her it's just different. We just click. The same happened with this new teacher, which he was really funny. He was really funny and very fun to learn with. And yeah, I remember that with him I learned about the tempo of the songs, and I got to start playing full songs, and I would get so excited when I started to play a song completely, and then he suddenly would enter with his guitar, and I would be so overwhelmed, like, oh my god, I'm playing the whole song, oh my god, I'm playing the whole song with another person, stop. Like, I couldn't keep up. Like, I was very, very emotional because it got me so excited. And yeah, I remember that one time. I won't tell this story because I won't tell this story. No, it's inappropriate. It will keep in my mind. But yeah, he was really fun. Then I stopped going there because I think he was going to go from the place. But yeah, I started to have a piano lessons in this establishment, and I had a piano professor teacher who was very stiff and honestly was like very young, but since I was 15 and he was like, I don't know, 22 21, I don't know, he seemed like so stiff too. And honestly, I have a thing that I become very intimidated when people are so well put, like very well put together, very clean. I get intimidated, I don't know why, when people are so correct. I don't know, which is very contradictory, because me being a punk rocker, I shouldn't care about clean people. I should be like, yeah, you do you, boy. But I don't know why I get so intimidated. And he was like very correct, even though he dressed in jeans and hoodies. His back was very straight, and he was like very serious in his classes. And I remember one time when I was about to play a song and I made a mistake, and he told me, please Victoria, focus. I was like, oh my god, this is so weird. He's very intimidating. This isn't like my other teacher, who was very fun, and he likes my jokes, and he likes to make jokes too. This guy doesn't get my jokes, and I would totally close my whole persona because he was intimidating. And I remember hearing over my shoulder a conversation that happened between my guitar teacher, who was my friend. I would consider him my friend after all, and this piano teacher. And my guitar teacher was telling my piano teacher, oh, she's very crazy, she's really funny, doesn't she make jokes in your class? And my piano teacher was, no, not at all, she's very serious, she's very quiet, she doesn't really talk too much. And my guitar teacher was like, really? She's like very nonchalant with me. And I was like, oh my god, my guitar teacher is going to find out that I'm very tense with this guy, and he will start thinking that I have a crush on my piano teacher, and not at all. And that's something that also haunts me, that sometimes I get very intimidated with this type of clean people, very strict and clean and correct people, and people that notice I'm intimidated by these people, like my friends and such, would tell me, like, would start to make fun of me, like, oh my god, you like this guy, you are into this guy. And I'm like, no, it's not about liking this guy or not. I mean, he was not ugly, but he was not my crush. He was really I don't know. I need to check myself. Maybe I do have a crush on them and I'm not saying it, but I have this thing that I realized today, that I have something with the males in positions of power, not necessarily power, but in positions where they are superior to me in a way, in a corporate way or in an educational way, like teachers, like supervisors, like I'm very intimidated by these guys, not in a romantic way, but in a you need to do good way. You need to do well, or I'm watching you. If you do something bad, I will be very disappointed in you, and I could not allow myself to do that. So I close myself to these people, and I do not let them know me, because I feel like so fragile with them. It's honestly so weird. I honestly don't know how these people in the BDSM communities do, because I would be so weirded out and very closed. And I'm getting hot, honestly, talking about this. Maybe I do have something like a crush about these people. I don't know, but it's honestly concerning because it blocks me from being myself. I mean, you could be intimidated by people. It's totally normal to be intimidated, I don't know, by the police, by a doctor, by a lawyer. It's totally normal. But if it blocks you from being yourself, it's not functional. And if you're seeing classes, then you won't get to learn anything because you would be totally scared. And I remember I had a teacher who in college who was very famous from not allowing students to pass the subject. How do you say pass in English? I'm getting tired speaking in English, but wait a minute. To pass the subject. At the end of the day, I was right. I didn't need to translate a lot, but yeah. Oh my god, maybe I am the problem. I am the problem, and I was very intimidated by this guy. And then my guitar teacher realized that I have something really weird going on with figures of power, especially masculine. I don't necessarily say male. You know why? Because when I was in college, there was a teacher who was a female, who was in a position of power, but she was really masculine. And then I found out she was a lesbian. And I found this out when I had already developed a certain crush on her. I admit it. Yeah, maybe I'm struck. I need to check that out with my therapist. But going back to my guitar and piano lessons, I left. But I got out with my acoustic guitar, my electric guitar, and for Christmas my parents got me a pedal machine, because it wasn't like just a single effects pedal. It was like a machine with many effects for the guitar, which was really nice for a beginner. And I discovered a new world through the guitar pedals. And with this pedal, I realized I could make drum sounds, and with drum sounds and guitar sounds, you put them together and know what comes out: music. That's exactly what comes out: music. And I started to make music on my own, and I didn't even know what to name the music I was making, and I started to sing in English because I didn't know if I could sing in my native tongue. I didn't know what to do. I started to publish my music in Bandcamp, and my first EP was really pathetic. It was called 19 Nights. 90 Nights. Like 90 nights, 90 nights, like a rhyme. And my songs were about politics, were about many things, and they were just like 40 seconds of songs. And I had a lot of fun making those songs, honestly. And when I grew a bit older, I left my electric guitar to the side and grabbed my acoustic guitar and started recording every song that came into my mind with some weird lyrics, very weird lyrics, and started to upload it into SoundCloud because I didn't have a whole album project. I just had songs here and there without even a production. They did not have drums, bass, or the correct mix. I just recorded the songs with my phone and uploaded it into my SoundCloud, and I started to make new friends through making songs, and I made a lot of indie music loving friends who were very encouraging, but also there were some people who would tell me like, why don't you make a bigger production and make an album because you have many songs which are good. And there were other people who were telling me like, no girl, no, don't do a production, your acoustic songs recorded with the phone are better because you are basically being so raw and honest with your feelings with those songs. I honestly didn't know what to do. Like, they were taking both of my arms and stretching me out and breaking me out into two pieces. And at the end of the day, I stopped making music because I started to have many complexes as a psychology student, and I started to have what we like to call a panic disorder. Started to have panic attacks every day after some weird stuff started to happen in my life. And I stopped making music. Then I moved out of my home country. Now I'm in another country, and I have been here since 2019, October 2019 to be exact. And in 2020 the pandemic hit, and it was very hard for me and my family. It was so weird. I started to make music as well, and on January 2020, before the crisis, I dropped a whole album. I was very motivated. I was young still. And yeah, it went well. I met some other new people who approached me through this new album, and I was very thankful. But then I had to stop my music making again because my computer crashed. It was a series of unfortunate events, like the Willow Smith song. But turns out this year, you know what? I have always wanted to be a bassist. I have always wanted to learn the bass, especially since I knew about Sonic Youth and Kim Gordon and the Pixies and Kim Deal. They were girls who were bassists, and about Bikini Kill's bassist, I can't remember her name right now, but she was a very great bassist, and I have always appreciated bass in songs. I can love a bass in a rock song as much as I can love a bass in an R&B song. I love Michael Jackson, Stevie Wonder, as well as Nirvana. Of course, my heart will always be with the punk rockers, but the bass, I have always appreciated the bass. And there's something I haven't told you because I started this story when I discovered Nirvana, but before, when I was in my Chemical Romance era, I started playing Guitar Hero and I loved it, of course, but during or in Guitar Hero 4, it's a band, Guitar Hero 1, 2, and 3, it's all about just the guitar, but then after the Rock Band video game, Guitar Hero stepped up to the competition and made a world tour game which had guitar, drums, voice, and also bass, which you could play through the guitar, of course. And yeah, when I saw the option for bass, I started to listen to the bass more clearly during the songs, and I was like, you know what, bass is awesome. It's just four strings that make the whole magic. And I've always wanted to be a bassist, but back in my home country I couldn't really afford to pay myself a bass after getting myself the guitars. Like, I was like, why would I buy a bass if I already have the guitars and I'm already making music? I'm being so greedy about it. Now I'm here, I'm more stable now, I'm going through something, my life will change now because I'm switching jobs, blah 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 blah. But now I am a responsible adult, and I finally could afford my bass because I told myself, why keep doubting? Buy yourself that fucking bass. It's not like you're buying the highest quality bass. Just buy that bass, play it, and see if you like it. And I have my bass guitar here with me, and I know you're watching this, but I'm recording this with the computer pots, and to this side I have my electric guitar, and to this side I have my bass guitar, and I didn't have to buy anything else because I had already bought an amplifier for my guitar and a tuner for my guitar when I got unemployed in 2022. So it's kind of weird. Like, if I'm buying an instrument, just know I'm going to quit or I'm about to quit. Got the guitar after a rough patch in my career history, and I got this bass just before quitting the job I have right now, and I probably won't have by next month. So interesting. And yeah, now I'm learning the bass, and it's honestly been really fun. Of course, as a guitarist, you approach it as a guitar, but little by little you go and start adapting your fingers to the bass and such. But since I have a solid guitar bass, I think I have approached the bass with the most tranquility a beginner can have. Wow, so yeah, that's basically my life story and how I met Nirvana. Let me tell you, I was very emotional about Kurt and his situation and his lyrics, and I read his diary, and now I feel dirty because it's just his journal. I don't know. When I was a teen, I used to idolize celebrities a lot. I know you aren't expecting this, but I also was a really huge K-pop fan. I am still a K-pop fan. I like K-pop, I listen to K-pop, but I am really not invested. I grew up, honestly, and maybe there are some people who, let's say, find out about K-pop later in life. Maybe you are in your 40s and you found out about K-pop and you are really invested in it because it's something totally new for you. I totally understand, but I got into K-pop around the same time I was getting into the Distillers and Nirvana and so on, and I was really invested, but I was also invested in rock. It's sad. I was invested in my pop divas, I was invested in rock, and I was invested in K-pop, but my thing was totally the rock thingy. But yeah, throughout the years I had been a huge fan of K-pop as well, and I was a huge EXO stan, and I would ask people to stan EXO all day and every day. Now I just like K-pop. I don't have the time to do ships and to write fanfics and to stream songs and to buy albums. I am not there anymore. I so, but what I want to tell you is that I grew up because I discovered it when I was very young, and now that I have grown, I'm not that interested anymore. I have other stuff I'm getting into, like comedy. I know, weird AF, but I'm getting into comedy. Let's say the back side of comedy, not just the jokes and the stand-up material on the comedy shows. I'm getting into the back stage of comedy, the scripts, the writing, that stuff. I'm getting more into movies and comedy and TV shows, honestly. Something new I hadn't really paid that much attention to. Now I'm getting into that instead of K-pop. But well, what was I? I was talking about other stuff that wasn't this. Yeah. I used to idolize people, celebrities a lot, and I idolized rock musicians the most because they were the genre I enjoyed the most, and I wanted to be like them. And honestly, you know what? Thank God I'm not like them, but I'm still punk rock. That's something I had to learn too. You don't have to be exactly like someone you admire to be punk rock yourself. And yeah, I used to care so much for Kurt Cobain. I saw him as like this figure, like a Catholic saint. I don't know. I was 15 and I saw that he died at 27. Oh my god, Kurt Cobain, it can't be. You were such a pure soul. Now that I'm older, I honestly saw Kurt as my peer, and I have read his journal entries, and it's very funny how my perspective totally changes after my frontal lobe developed. I still love Kurt Cobain. I fucking love that guy. He made some of the greatest music ever. He had the greatest lyrics, the greatest music. He was fun. He was really stuck to his core values. But he was just another guy. Honestly, I saw some journal entries, and it's like, he's just a white guy. I mean, he was just a white guy, and that's fine. Honestly, yeah, that's it. He was just a white guy, and it's really funny to think about him this way because I used to think he was basically Jesus when I was 15. Maybe I was whitewashed when I was a teen. I was attending a Catholic school, as I told you, and the portraits of Jesus in my school really resembled Kurt Cobain because they painted Jesus white. And honestly, if you ask me, I think Jesus may have looked like Nander from What We Do in the Shadows. Think about it. He was tan, black hair, long hair. I don't really know if Jesus was tall, because cobain is really tall, but facially I think they might be they might be pretty similar. And honestly, listen to this theory I have that just came into my mind. I have something weird going on with males in positions of power, or positions in superiority to me. And it's so funny that when I start to admire a male, I start to compare him to Jesus. Maybe it has something to do with the fact that I see Jesus as a figure of power. Probably. I don't want to go further because it's going to start to sound like blasphemy, and I don't want that. And yeah, so weird, and it's so weird the religious guilt we are incentivized to when we were kids. So maybe that's something that I have ingrained in my mind. But well, who knows? That's basically it for this second video of my channel, Bikimithi. I will be making more videos like this. I honestly don't plan into making something more organized. This is the raw me, the real me, the videos I need to let it all out, and I could hear myself talk for ages. I think this video is fine. 1 hour and 6 minutes talking shit, and I think you can enjoy it. So thank you so much for watching, and I don't want to leave. You know why? Because I'm comfortable talking to myself finally. It's like the world has been turned off and I can finally vent. But no, I can't keep going because it's 12 and it's midnight, and I need to go to sleep because tomorrow is Friday and I have to go to my job. And I won't tell them I will quit until the last week of October so I can get paid. Yeah, okay. Thank you so much for watching this video, and hopefully I will make a promise. I will publish this video tomorrow on October 17 at night. In my main channel on Sunday or Monday, I'm giving me a day more. On Sunday or Monday in my Spanish channel, there must be a video uploaded about Kurt Cobain from Nirvana and Axl Rose from Guns N' Roses feud, and this video would work as a preface, and I can redirect my Spanish video to my English video if you're interested. So that's it. I can't keep going. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to start watching What We Do in the Shadows again for a second time. I had already watched the pilot for 4 times. One the first time, the other one for the second time, because in the first one it was really late at night and I fell asleep because I was really tired from my job. The third time I saw it with my dad, who he wanted to watch the TV show. He fell asleep, never told me to watch it again. I think he hated it, but oh well. And the fourth time, this time I watched it because I started to rewatch What We Do in the Shadows again, and I have seen the pilot for What We Do in the Shadows 4 times, and I will start to watch the whole show again, hopefully 4 times as well. Okay, that's enough. That's just enough of, you know what, that's not enough. I will wait until 1 hour 10 minutes mark to end this up, because I'm gritty like that. Thank you for watching. Tell me, what do you like more, my British accent or my American accent or my Spanish speaking accent? I don't know what even accent to make because I want to do my English exam and I don't know what accent to make. I find so many inconsistencies in it, and I want to stick to an accent because I want to sound more natural, but I don't know which one to choose. Let me know which one you think is more appropriate for a Cambridge C1 level test. Yes, I will make the C1 test because I will study hard, so tell me, which accent should I make?